Hello, sleepyheads. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Remy and I make ASMR videos. And today I want to tell you just a little bit about my recent trip to Arizona. I live in California and last week I spent 3 days in Arizona, 3 nights I should say. I tend to think of trips in terms of number of nights spent away, if that makes sense. And if you're curious, I don't know if you can even tell, but it is the same day now as I film this, as it was in my last little catch-up video. I'm filming a few videos today. So, same day, later that day, and I did in fact go get my COVID test, go get a soy matcha latte, iced of course, this time of year, right? And then I went to CVS just for 10 minutes to grab some things and pick up my new tretinoin prescription. Very exciting stuff. So in a moment I need to get back to packing and doing laundry and general preparations, but for now, before I get ready for my next little trip, I'd love to take a few moments to tell you about my last one. Just an overview, because the point of the trip was really to spend time with a dear friend, and I wouldn't want to invade her privacy by oversharing about the content of our time together, just because most of it was spent catching up with each other, talking for hours and hours, which was so lovely. But before I get into that, let's start at the beginning. So I had my car all packed up and ready to go. This was on the last day of July 31st, and it was a weekend day, and I was nervous about how long the drive would take, so I definitely wanted to push off as early as I could, but I don't know, it's hard when you're going on a car trip, and I feel like sometimes when you have the option of just throwing things into your trunk, you don't pack as efficiently and, as compared to when you're going through an airport. I feel like I'm more likely to have my bags all packed in advance for air travel, if that makes sense. But for the car trip, I can take my full-size toiletries, and in theory that saves me time to just throw them into a caddy and put that caddy into my trunk. But in reality, that means that I'm packing the same toiletries that I use when I shower in the morning. So morning of, I'm going to need to get up earlier and use all the products and then dry them off and pack them into the caddy and pack the car. And I'm also packing the car with snacks for the road. Different considerations for a different travel style. My throat is drying out, so hold on one moment. Hang tight just a moment while I go get myself a glass of water. That's much better. Gotta get those points. Okay, sometimes soft speaking is the hardest thing of all. Also, if I'm looking off camera a lot in this video, it's because my desk is completely strewn with different things I don't want to forget to pack. For example, these little sugar scrub cubes. I got these because I'm trying to be a packing genius. I don't want to lug a heavy duffel bag around for 4 different flights. So I'm trying to trim the fat wherever I can, and as a person with a very specific grooming routine that I like to do every single day, I can end up transporting a lot of toiletries, a lot of different products for just 3 or 4 days. Honestly, like, the difference for me between packing for any trip longer than 24 hours and a trip up to a week or so is negligible. So I figured I could just take 1 or 2 of these little cubes, and then I just use them up. You know, they're dry, so I don't need to worry about transporting liquids on the way there, and then I use them up. So I don't need to worry about transporting any containers or anything else on the way back. So I thought that was kind of clever. So this product, you know, it has a little bit of plastic here. I would like this product even more if they lost this plastic. I don't feel like you really need it, you know? You can just have these in a cardboard box because the rest of the packaging is all paper. So yeah, it's a little, I think it's supposed to be a sampler or a little gift set, but it will work well for me for my next few trips because I do use a sugar scrub every single day. So yeah, it's items like this all over my desk, distracting me, catching my eye. So when I left, like I was saying early on that Saturday morning, I wanted to try to beat weekend traffic because I knew the drive was going to be a good 8 or 9 hours, maybe even 10 if traffic was bad. And it's been a very long time since I've driven such a great distance on my own, and I get a little nervous. I actually have family in Arizona, not in exactly the same place, but not so far away from where I ended up going this time around. So I know how long that drive can take, and if you leave 2 hours later, you can end up getting there 3 hours later, if that makes sense, because, you know, you hit traffic worsens throughout the day, and there's just an exponential effect, like there's an input-output, and it can really add up. So in the past, I've left pretty late in the day, you know, 1 or 2 p.m., not intentionally, but just because I've run behind, and those drives have been brutal once the sun sets for me, and I've already driven a lot and been stuck in a lot of traffic. I can get very tired. Sorry about this truck. Very tired, very drowsy. I'm a very trance-prone person, like so many of us in this community, I think, are. So my concern when I'm driving long distances is that I'm going to get too tired to finish the drive. So it's uncomfortable to consider having to break a trip like that up into another day and have to stop and nap, and then I'm there even later and I'm keeping someone waiting, and it all makes me anxious, and it's happened before. There was one year that I I got in at like 2 or 3 in the morning because I'd been falling asleep and I had to stop over and over again and chug energy drinks. I was slapping myself. I was pulling over and taking little naps. It was terrible, and someone was waiting up for me because they had a bed ready for me, and it was a terrible experience. And that's around the holidays a lot, so that's part of why historically it's gotten so bad for me. Sometimes it's been such a difficult drive. So I went into this trip expecting the worst. It's summer. I don't know how that compares to holiday season traffic, but I figured, on a Saturday, can't be great. So I wanted to leave as early as possible, and I was actually kicking myself because I only made it out the door at about 7 o'clock. 7 in the morning. I just wasn't messing around this time. And let me tell you, I flew there. Like, it was such an easy, nice drive. I was just eating snacks with one hand as I went. I was just helping myself to some peanut butter sandwiches that I had packed, and just going, staying focused, staying alert. And I actually stopped to fill my tank right when I was leaving town. So in my neighborhood, right at 7 in the morning, I filled my tank to the top. And that meant that I only needed to stop and get gas, and also to stop into a Starbucks. I was refueling in multiple senses. I was getting gas and getting matcha, and I also stopped and used the restroom, and all of that I was able to do in the same 15-minute window, which meant that that was the only time that I stopped. And I ended up getting to my destination at 2 p.m. or so. Honestly, I think I cut time. I got there sooner than the GPS said I would, even having stopped. So that was an amazing feeling. I felt so good getting there on time, even early. I felt like I'd broken some sort of curse. I just couldn't believe what good time I made, and I found myself bragging to people about it, I made such good time. I'm never the person who gets to say that about long drives. Maybe I'm on time to something that's 30 minutes away, but you don't really say I made good time about something like that. You say that about travel, about a long drive. So I don't think when it comes to long drives I've ever felt like I made good time. So I was feeling really good. And I actually got there a few hours before my friend. So she sent me the Airbnb information, and I was able to check in before her because I really needed to rinse off, wash my face, throw my clothes in the washer because I was a sweaty mess. I don't sweat very much as a person, but I felt clammy and gross, my version of it, because it was a hot, humid day in Arizona, more humid than usual. And I stopped first at a car wash because I had bugs encrusted in my windshield, like you do when you go on a highway for long stretches. And I hadn't gotten my car washed for a month before that, so it was time. There was no point doing it before I left because it was going to get absolutely destroyed en route, and my visibility was still good. So I just went with my dirty car. So I got there and I went to a car wash and I got my car all cleaned, and then I went and checked into the Airbnb and got to freshen up And the Airbnb was beautiful, just like I'd seen in the photos, because my friend actually scouted out different places we could stay, and she's the one who found us our lodging. We agreed on it together, but she gave me a few great options, and we really liked the look of this one, so we went for it. Now, the only thing that was not so great about the Airbnb, other than that, it was a little dirtier in some areas than I'd like the fridge could have been cleaned better between the last occupants and us. But other than that, it was really beautiful, so I just went ahead and cleaned it. So I actually just went ahead and cleaned it myself because I wanted it to be nice for my friend. But I will say that we rented a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo because we both appreciate our personal space, and it just felt like it'd be a nicer trip for us both that way, which is why I was especially thankful for her stellar research skills, and she found somewhere that was frugal but felt luxurious in a lot of ways. It was inexpensive in the ways that count, and then luxurious in the ways that felt really nice. But what you couldn't tell from the photos was that the 2 bedrooms were pretty different from each other. Whoops, super loud cars, I apologize. Super different. So one of them was clearly the master suite. It had an ensuite, it had a huge walk-in closet, a big fluffy bed, the window looked out onto the balcony, it was more private that way, and it had a ceiling fan, it had all these little toiletries, complimentary toiletries laid out on a little tray. It just felt, it felt more luxurious. Whereas the other bedroom, the bathroom was nice enough, but it was in the hallway. It was not like you would shut the door and have, sorry, I scratched my nose right here and it's looking red. But it's not as if you'd have complete privacy. I mean, I did, because when we went to bed for the night, she stayed off on her side. The bedrooms were on opposite sides of the condo, which was even more providing of privacy, nice in that way, separate. But anyway, just for that feel of you close the door and you're in your own little world. This one didn't have that. You'd have to step out into the hallway. It was right next to the massive air conditioning vent, so it was super loud, and the windows all looked out onto the front as opposed to the back, not the balcony, but into the rest of the condo association. So that was less private feeling, and just in terms of the ways it was furnished, it just felt more sparse, less luxurious. Even the pillows didn't have pillowcase liners. They were just kind of thrown in, and everything felt like it was bought in the dorm section of Target. So yeah, everything was a little thin, a little Spartan, and there was no ceiling fan, and even the blinds didn't work properly. They were broken, so once I put them up, they wouldn't come back down, and I had to, we tucked towels into them so I would have privacy at night, and even then there was it gaped a little bit, our little system. So, but anyway, the point is, I saw these differences when I arrived first, and my friend said, go ahead and pick whichever room you like, because I texted her and said, do you have a preference from the photos? A preference in terms of which room you want, because they really both looked great in photos. It's hard to tell these things, And she said, no preference. You go ahead and pick when you get there. So the decision was left to me. And when I got there and took a little tour of the place, actually, I think I have a little video, so I'll go ahead and put that, but I do think it's very different in terms of the audio, so I'm gonna stick it at the end of this video so it's not disruptive, just the difference in levels. But just so you can see my conundrum, not a big deal, but I got there and I saw the two different rooms. I took a little poke around myself and I was like, oh no. You know, they're different experiences. And my friend is so easygoing, so sweet. I know she would have had no problem whatsoever had I claimed the objectively nicer room for myself. She just kept saying, all I need is a bed, you know. But I don't know, I had time. I had like an hour or so to really puzzle things out, and I 100% knew in my heart that I would feel terrible, even if it were all the same to her. I'd feel terrible if I stuck her in the dinkier of the two rooms. Having gotten there first, I would never want to take advantage of that. So, and I also thought about the fact that she's a school teacher and about to go into another hectic year, and this was like gonna be her last little vacation for a while before things get really busy. Things get really busy for her, which I also knew was going to start happening, was going to begin again, you know, the day she got back, or like the very next morning. So yeah, it was clear to me what I had to do, and I really wanted to stick her in the really nice room. Sorry, so noisy. So yeah, and whenever she asked me, you know, like, how did you sleep? How was it? I was always like, oh, so great, you know, but like, I did not like that room. It was not a good room. I do think the Airbnb folks could invest a little more into balancing the experience. Oops, so loud. I'm so sorry. Let me hold. It's going. God damn it. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. I'm low on time today, so I'm just gonna keep going. I apologize for the truck sounds. So, yeah, so I wanted to put her up in that really nice room, and I didn't regret my decision. I was fine, you know, like we didn't spend that much time in our respective rooms anyway, but it was funny. Yeah, I do think it felt like the Airbnb folks figured that the majority of people who will take up the spot, maybe their families, or there will definitely be like a couple and maybe their friend, or I mean, it felt like maybe the idea was a kid would stay in that other room. Yeah, there was just a disparity in terms of vibes. One felt like a dorm room, like how they set up a dorm room if you're only going to be there for a few weeks, like when a college campus rents out their dorms to like a camp, you know? That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like a little bit. But other than that, everything was so nice. We had such a nice stay together. We just talked and talked and talked. We had so much catching up to do. We haven't seen each other in person in a few years now, so yeah, it was lovely. At times I was worried I was babbling, you know, I was rambling too much, because I just felt so connected to her, and I don't know, it made me a chatterbox, but I think she got to share a lot and vent a lot and express a lot too, I hope, because I love hearing stories about her life as well. So yeah, the first night we went and we got dinner after talking again for a long time. We finally went and got dinner, and we were able to eat out at a restaurant that's just doing takeout and outdoor dining, So it felt really safe, really nice, which wasn't the case. You know, the first place we looked into, it was super crowded and felt very chaotic, very popular, but just kind of a mess. And we both were like, no, let's not do that. So we went to another restaurant, and I got these spicy garlic noodles with extra noodles. Oh my goodness, it was so good. A big steaming bowl full. And then she got a ramen, and I think she really enjoyed that. And yeah, we caught up a lot. There were some mosquitoes out, so eventually, you know, we took the party on the road, and we I mean, that's not what that means. We went home, we went back to our Airbnb and went to bed, because she likes to go to bed on the earlier side, and I can definitely appreciate that, you know. It's recycling day, honestly. I should have known. And that works well for me too, even though sometimes I can't fall asleep as early as I'd like. In theory, I like the idea of an early bedtime a lot. So we did that, and the next day we woke up and we went on a coffee run. Oh my god. And the next morning we woke up, we went on a coffee run and picked up some groceries for her. I already had all the groceries I needed. I packed pretty well for the trip. I packed peanut butter sourdough sandwiches for the road. They're just I packed peanut butter sourdough sandwiches for the road. It's a favorite snack of mine, somewhere between a snack and a meal. When you're driving long distances, it's, you know, very stabilizing. I find it a good mix of carbs and proteins, and it sits nicely in your stomach, fills you up, will never make you queasy, at least not in my experience. Again, you know, I'm not particularly prone to that, but, you know, sometimes I can get car sick or just feel kind of yucky, you know, traveling. And I never have that experience with sourdough peanut butter sandwiches. And then I also had some Honeycrisp apples, some cherries all washed and ready to go, some water, you know, some salt and vinegar chips, some pickle popcorn, some cup of soups in a split pea flavor, like powdered soups. You just add hot water, and then I also add some wasa crackers with me, just different things like that. Oh, and 2 corn crust pizzas with Beyond Meat on top. Those are really good. If you've never tried a corn crust pizza, they're super tasty with a really cool texture. So I had my snacks, my foods that I needed for the trip, and knew I'd largely be eating out. So yeah, we went on a grocery run, and then we spent the rest of that day together. Again, just the rest of that day together. We lounged by the pool, we went in the hot tub. That was so nice. I love a hot tub, and it was everything I could have hoped for. It was largely in the shade, so I was having the best possible time. We stayed out there for hours. We had the entire pool area to ourselves for almost the entire time, and it was just so peaceful. There was a woodpecker nearby, and some hummingbirds were flying around, some dragonflies. So yeah, we just spent the entire time catching up, and it was really, really nice. She's a person for whom I have a lot of respect, and she mentioned at one point that she doesn't like everyone, you know. She picks her people carefully, and I know that about her. So it's something she's very good at that I really respect, and I want to model myself after. I want to model my own life after her really good, her ability to trust her instincts about people. Like I only have a few people with whom I'm really, really close, but in terms of letting people in terms of whom I allow to be my friend, I'm pretty tolerant, almost to a fault. Even if I get the sense that they don't really like me, and I'm like, well, why do they even want to be my friend? I'll let them, I'll take their word for it, and, I'll let them. I'll give them my time, give them my energy, kind of see things out. And then inevitably, when they cross a line with me, or maybe they can no longer hide their resentment toward me, things blow up in my face, in both our faces, to be honest. So just listening to her talk about setting good boundaries, walking away when in her gut a situation or a dynamic doesn't feel right, it feels fraught or unsafe, that's something I'd really like to learn to do. So I don't have these weird quasi-friendships, or like these ambiguous friendships, frenemies, because I don't seek people out in a frenemy capacity, but people seek me out. And I'll be very passive, I think when someone takes an interest and seems to want to be my friend, I'm excited by that, I'm heartened. So even if I get sketchy vibes or mixed signals, I'll just go along with it. And it usually ends pretty toxically, because things went further than they should have, and intimacy was formed, and then it's even harder to cleanly walk away. So, but I'm learning all the ways that I can do better, and I can walk away even when it feels like it's past the point of no return, and I don't need to get into the mess, get into the fray with them. I can just step back. And even better would be if I could learn to hone my instincts to be more like my friend, to listen to my instincts about people, and be more selective, because again, I have a few people with whom I'm very close, and I have 100% confidence in those relationships. I fully trust those people, but then you go one circle out and there are all kinds of people on that kind of tier, in that tier of friendship with me. And I often find that some people mixed in there don't want good things for me, if that makes sense. So anyway, just something I left thinking about on my long drive home. She's admirable in so many ways. So she's just a fantastic, gorgeous human being inside and out, and I hope we can stay close, stay friends forever. It's a friendship I really want to take good care of, nurture, because I really cherish her. So and that's pretty much it. I did actually stay another night in Arizona, and I stayed with my family. She got to meet them all. It wasn't too far off. And then I stayed that last night with them, spent some time with my aunt and uncle. My uncle is the sweetest. I'm really lucky in my uncles. I have two two absolutely adorable human beings for my uncles, and my aunt is also the sweetest person on God's green earth. And I love all my cousins. I just adore my Arizona family. And I got to do a little bit of golf with my aunt and uncle. I don't have a lot of golf experience, but that was some nice bonding time. And my aunt got to show me her quilting projects. She's a formidable quilter, like maybe the best. She's a phenomenal quilter. Amazing. Like, it's beyond a hobby. She says it's a hobby, but it transcends. God, these trucks are driving me nuts. I forgot to show you. So my friend gave me as a little gift when we were there together this lavender mist, and you can use it on your body, you can use it on your clothes, on your bedding. And she had no idea that I use a lavender spray on my pillows every day. Every day when I make my bed, I spray the pillows with lavender so that by nighttime it's diffuse, it's not too strong, but there's the relaxing, soothing smell of lavender on my pillows. And I was honestly looking for a nicer brand, a nicer kind. I don't want to use cruddy essential oils mixed with other random filler ingredients somewhere I'm going to lay my head. So she picked up this one in New Mexico when she was traveling, when she was out and about on a little road trip, and she got it for me. And it comes in a little glass bottle, made in small batches. These trucks. Oh God, it's been like 45 minutes. I know you can't tell, and this is about as quiet as it's been for 45 minutes. Oh goodness. So I was just so moved, and it was such a sweet coincidence. I was looking for a new one, like I wanted a new lavender spray, and she showed up with this. So sweet, so thoughtful. Go away. Goes away. I'm Golluming out. Goes away. I don't remember how Gollum says it. So yeah, that's everything. Oh, and the drive back, nailed that one too. Also made better time than the GPS projected, even coming back into Los Angeles with all that traffic hitting like the after work traffic. I still made great time. I was loving driving. Like I was taking phone calls through my car, like hands-free setup, because it's just a straightaway. And so I caught up with friends and then blasted music, thought about, planned out some new writing that I'm going to do. Oh, it was great. I just figured it out. I'm just growing up and learning that not putting things to the last minute and putting myself into stressful situations, subjecting myself to undue stress. I just enjoy, it goes without saying, but I don't just remove the stress. With the stress gone, I'm having a great time. I'm enjoying myself, Things aren't so panicked and, tortured. So, yeah, I was having a ball and got a little sleepy at times, but nipped it in the bud, stopped for Starbucks, and again, on the way home, 1.5 tanks of gas, only stopped once to refuel, get Starbucks, use the restroom. Done. I was ecstatic. And the entire way, I wore, just because there's a lot of sun, you know, going across the desert, going east to west to east, you're going to deal with some sun at some point. And even if it's behind you, it's reflecting in your rear view mirror onto your face. So I did really good preparation in terms of sun protection, and I wore driving gloves, SPF driving gloves the whole way, both ways, and SPF sleeves, and I reapplied at various points. I think you may have seen this if you've watched. I've shown this in a video before. This is from my IGTV video of what my sister got me for my birthday. Maybe it was Christmas. My sister got this for me. I keep it in this because it's a powder and I want to keep things clean inside my purse. But there's a little brush and you pop it off and you pump this and it releases some SPF powder into the brush, and you can just really easily just throw some extra on your nose, on your eyes, chin, everywhere, you know, everywhere the sun is hitting. But I do, before I go on my trip tomorrow, I need to wash my makeup brushes, and I'm nervous. I have to figure out how to wash this without getting soapy water into the compartment that the powder itself is inside. So I'll need to be very careful. You know, I know how to wash brushes properly. I've done painting classes, and you know, I grew up painting my bedroom because my dad was a carpenter and a house builder and knew how to paint and would always make us help him. So brush etiquette or brush cleaning etiquette, I know all about that. Don't want to get water down into the ferrule. Don't want to get water down inside the brush. So always keep it pointed down, dripping down. So I'm going to try that with this. Wish me luck. I just hope that the fibers don't pull the water up, like convey it up like with a passive incense diffuser. You know what I'm talking about? Those little reeds. I don't know. I need to be careful, but I need to wash this as well as my 2 travel kabuki brushes. So after this, I'm going to put in a load of laundry, start getting my toiletries ready, and I'm going to wash my brushes so they're nice and clean for the trip, so I'm not even more prone to breaking out than I already would be with, you know, the change in climate, the long hours of mask wearing on the plane, travel stress. So I'm going to try my best. So to wash my brushes, I'm going to use this brush cleaner I got off Etsy. I'm trying to support more small businesses. So I'm gonna go try this out. Sorry, I'm getting overexposed. Okay, so I'm off to really get into my trip preparations. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you get lots and lots of good REM sleep, and as always, I hope all your dreams are sweet. Bye. A little desk in this room, and lots of closet space and additional storage. It has its own bathroom, washer and dryer behind these doors with very sweet knobs. They remind me of Bianca's. And through here, a little eating area, cozy den / living room. Here's the kitchen. a little nook. There's even a fireplace. And a little patio area. Can you see the sun on the table? Through here is the master suite. We've got a bed, obviously. You can see more of the outdoor area. There's a ceiling fan in this one, crucially. Big perk. And then there's an ensuite with a walk-in closet. And another little bathroom. More of the outdoor area. The hardest thing of all for me, people. I need to eat something to generate saliva. Hold on. Sorry, this is really gross.